Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I will be reviewing Affinity by Sarah Waters. Affinity is the second Sarah Waters novel that she ever wrote. I think that it was published in 1999 and it's honestly an amazing read. I have no words. I finished this last night and I think it's going to be one of those books that's in my head for a really long time. Adored it. I loved it so much. I mean, way more than I ever expected to. It is honestly beautiful in so many ways. Oh my god, I just want to talk about this book forever because it's so great. Okay, but Affinity tells the story of Margaret Pryor, who's a 29-year-old Victorian woman. She is wealthy and she is at a very hard point in her life. Her father, who she was really close to, died, I think about a year before the novel takes place. And this was something that was really difficult for Margaret to handle. She also got her heart broken. So she's in a very vulnerable place when we first meet her in the novel. So Margaret, because of the fact that she's a 29-year-old, she doesn't have a family, she's not married yet. She still lives with her mother, which at this time is something that's really frowned upon. You know, if you're 29, you should be married already. But the fact is that Margaret does not want to be married to a man. That is not who she is. And she, like I said, is in a very depressive state when we first meet her. She decides to go ahead and volunteer at a women's prison called Millbank, kind of to do something with herself, to maybe, you know, latch on to something. She's really longing to find some sort of connection throughout the entire book, and that's definitely, I think, one of the reasons why she goes ahead and volunteers at this prison. When she is volunteering at the prison, she meets a woman by the name of Selena Dawes, who was a spiritualist in her former life. Now she is a prisoner because she, during one of her spiritualist appointments, I guess you should say, somebody died. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding Selena. Margaret and Selena create a bond, and Margaret really attaches herself to Selena, and the story kind of takes off from there, and it tells, you know, the story of love and of questioning and of depression. Really, it's a really incredibly sad novel, but it's just so worth the read. It's amazing, just amazing. The three reasons why I love the book. Number one, I loved the fact that the book was really heavy on spiritualism. Spiritualism was a big thing in Victorian times. You know, you kind of already have that. When you say Victorian, you kind of think about the long dresses and then the people sitting around thinking that they can talk to the dead. You know, Victorian era and spiritualism kind of go hand in hand, and I had never read a book that really focused on that topic. And I think that one of the reasons why I like Sarah Waters so much is because when she writes about the same period of time, she writes about a completely different environment and a completely different way of life in that period of time. This is, like I said, her second novel. Her first three novels, which I have already read, are set in Victorian England. The first one was Tipping the Velvet, the second one was Affinity, and then the third one was Fingersmith. And they're all set at the same times, but they all, you know, they all describe a different period of that time. You know, for example, Tipping the Velvet was all about the theater world of the Victorian era, the performance world of that period of time, and then Affinity is about the spiritualism aspect of it, the fact that people, really wealthy people, really went to these dark circles and sat there and thought that they could talk to their mother and their father and their baby, and they really genuinely believed this, and that there were mediums all around that, you know, were saying that they could talk to the dead. And then the third one, Fingersmith, is about the criminal world of the Victorian times. I really like the fact that Sarah Waters really goes into all these different branches of the Victorian era, and I find that really interesting. And I loved the spiritualism in this book because it makes you question yourself. I think that at the beginning of the book I was just like Margaret, and I was like, nah, this is so fake. As the book progressed, you kind of find yourself thinking, wait, is this a paranormal book? Is Selena really a medium? Is she really able to talk to the people from the other side? So you kind of question your own spirituality ideas with this book. The second reason why I really liked the book was because I thought that it was really just honest, and it really hits at life. You know, in life we all don't get our happy endings. If you're somebody that cannot take reading a book that's just sad throughout, you probably will not be able to get through this one, because there isn't a moment of happiness. There isn't really a shining light, and the only kind of brief moments of a little bit of happiness are taken away so quickly. And it's really sad, but that's what happens in life sometimes. Some people just experience a lot of heartbreak and a lot of hurt, and they're not really able to handle it. So I love the fact that Sarah Waters, the two previous novels that I read from her, Tipping the Velvet and Fingersmith, they both, the characters went through a lot of trials and a lot of struggles, but at the end of the day, they had a happy ending. And, you know, their life kind of was put together in a way. And in this one, it's just, you know, the life is completely left broken, and it's just so sad. There is no happy ending here, and I love that, because in reality there is no, you know, sometimes there's just no happy ending for some people out there. So it's really a book that made me incredibly sad for Margaret. It really made me almost want to cry for her. I really empathize with her. And the third reason why I like the book, I really enjoy the fact that it was in a prison setting. The majority of the book is inside of the prison, is between Selena and Margaret talking, and just them in this little cell, and I really enjoy that. I love when books take place in an odd space, and in an odd space that I don't really know much about. Obviously, I don't know much about prison. I've never been there, but you know, I really enjoyed it. There was just this darkness to it because of the setting that I really liked. The book is honestly, I have no words. I think that this is probably a really bad review for how I really feel about this book, but I can't put it into words, and maybe I'll do another review later on when I've kind of digested it and when I'm kind of like been okay with what happened. But right now, I really feel like this is an incredible read, and anybody should read it, because it keeps you at the edge of your seat the entire time. And at the same time, like I said, it feels very real at the end, and it sort of hits you like a dagger through your heart. It just goes right in, because it's so incredibly upsetting what happens. If you can read this book, read it. It's incredible. I love it. Honestly, I love it. And if it had a happy ending, it might as well have been my #1 book that I've ever read, because it's so beautiful and it just made me feel so many things. But because it's so sad, I've decided to just go ahead and put it at #2 and let Fingersmith be #1, because it's just so sad. It's so sad, you guys. Okay, but thank you very much if you watched this video, and bye!